Which Warhammer game has the best list writing? Let's talk about that.
Here at Tattoo Tabletop, we have a lot of fun, so be sure to like, share, subscribe. It's all completely free and it helps me out. And if you really want to help me out, come join our Patreon. Link is in the description where you can come post and talk about your favorite minis. Now back to the video.
Welcome to Tattoo Tabletop. My name is James, and today we are discussing list writing. More specifically, which game has the best version of it, or what am I looking for when it comes to it? So, for me, it's been kind of weird. Recently, I've been very, very busy with work and my full time job, and so therefore, I haven't gotten a ton of other playing time or even that much hobby time, and it is sad. I'm doing what I can, where I can, while I can, but them's the bricks. But it got me thinking about why haven't I really gone out and played some of these games more recently? Is it just because of work? Is it because of other things? Could be a multitude. But also, what games do I feel the most motivated to play or to try or to do? So I think that thought I would have that discussion with you today, and we'll take a closer look at it. Today's video is sponsored by The Forge for all your hobby nerd needs. Whether it's Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Marvel Crisis Protocol, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Lorcana, and a plethora of board games, The Forge has what you need. The Forge has been my go-to shop, and the inventory has only grown. If there's something you don't see on the shelves, fill out a product request form on their website. Thank you to The Forge for sponsoring this video. So after giving it a little bit of thought, I have these things to break down. So let's start with top of the order. Let's start with the alphabet, Age of Sigmar. So what do I like or dislike about Sigmar in terms of its list writing? So for Age of Sigmar, there's obviously you need a hero to lead a regiment. You can build multiple regiments up to a certain limit. And based on what of those, you'll unlock certain amount of units that can be run with that unit. Now, the leader isn't attached to that unit. So that's the one part where it gets a little confusing because you're building a regiment and you're appointing one hero to be the leader of said regiment, but they don't have to really interact just because, your Auric Flame Keepers over here and you've got your Volkite Berserkers for like Fire Slayers over here. It doesn't mean that these need to run together. It doesn't mean that he's attached to it. You can literally put them on complete opposite ends of the table. So it's really just for the list rating portion. What do I think of this? I think it's okay. My biggest criticism right now, realistically, is that I don't think Age of Sigmar is necessarily encouraging balanced list writing. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of the tactics that we've seen throughout the edition have been very much of a win more variety. Now, what do I mean by win more? What I mean is when you're playing the game, oftentimes you can literally just try and bounce your opponent off the table and then just win more. Or some of the battle tactics have, surge forward, step back a little, surge forward again. So some of the requirements are a little goofy for it. Having gotten in a decent amount of the new GHB's games, I'm not going to say I got the most games in, not by any stretch of the imagination. I like the idea of the battle tactics in terms of they are a fixed list writing thing. Kind of makes sense. You don't have to deal with the admin of having to choose one at the beginning of every single one of your turns. But I think inevitably it does fall a little short because right now, the reason I personally haven't been playing much Age of Sigmar is it's very much in somewhat of a monster mashy place. I'm seeing significantly more just big things, big lists. Like that's really what it is. And I mean, understandably, these things should have stats. But when I looked at the Hellsmiths of Heshut book, you could absolutely just run Uruktar and then a bunch of the guys on the bulls and you're gonna wipe, or of course including bull centaurs and stuff like that. So Age of Sigmar doesn't really have much in terms of restricting your list writing. There's not much on the restriction side of things other than a few quids in there, but it's one of the reasons why I haven't been playing much is because I don't think it leads to balanced list writing. So for me, it hasn't appealed to me. Again, I'm not saying it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just something that I'm not personally drawn into. So when I build my list, I like to build more balanced lists because I think that's fun. I think that's more thematic. I mean, even in like games like Age of Empires and stuff like that, where you could probably just spam a certain thing and that would win you the game. I didn't care. I wanted archers, I wanted infantrymen, I wanted spearmen, horses. Like I wanted a range of everything in some way, shape, or form. And right now, I don't think Age of Sigmar encourages it much, which is one of the reasons why I personally haven't been playing much. Next up, let's get on to Warhammer 40,000. What do I think of Warhammer 40,000's list writing for 10th edition? I actually think it's pretty solid. I'm not mad about it. I think everything in the most capacity has a role or a point or a purpose, which is great. There are a plethora of detachments to choose from across the different factions. There are some that have less than others. But for the most part, each one kind of encourages a different type of list, which could be good or it could be bad. I mean, depending on what you're running. I don't know a ton of people that are going to be running the new Homunculus Covens detachment from Drukhari, but it's there as an option. Now, the thing that I do appreciate about Warhammer 40,000, at least at the present moment of 10th edition, is that because you are playing the tactical cards, where you're drawing your secondaries, you do have to somewhat have a flexible list or a balanced list. You have to have something that can go out and kill something. You have to have something that can go out and do actions, and you have to do different things like that. And you have to be able to do any of those things at any given moment because you most of the time, from what I've seen, 90% of the time, people are taking tactical. That means they're drawing the cards two at a time, whatever, binning them if they don't think they're going to get it. Playing that kind of game, and I think it encourages more balanced list writing. I actually kind of would I would like Age of Sigmar to go to this potentially next edition because obviously they can't have the games overlap or anything like that. But I think that that would be a lot more fun and would encourage more balanced list writing for Age of Sigmar. But we'll see. So at least right now, 40k list writing I think is okay. It works out pretty well. You still have your limit of 6 battle line and 3 other data sheets as well. So I think that's kind of nice. So there is some lists that do spam certain things. Most prevalent example would be obviously Nemo the Fish at this last Las Vegas Open, who just ran a buttload of infantry units for his Astra Militarum in the recon detachment. I'm sure on a balance patch later, we'll probably see a good kick to them, which is a bit unfortunate because, again, I'm building my Astra Militarum. I do like that book does encourage, oh, you want to run vehicles? Well, here's Hammer of the Emperor. Oh, you want to run artillery pieces and infantry? Here's the Siege Regiment. Things of that nature. So I think it does still encourage balanced list writing for the most part, but you do have moments like that where you get a Nemo the Fish moment and, they spam everything. But as a whole, I would say 40K's list writing is actually still pretty balanced, still pretty solid. I'm not mad about it. It looks like an army structure, which is something that I personally appreciate. Last one I'll talk about because this is one that I have the most experience. I'll actually briefly touch on one other one, but I wouldn't say I play it very often. It's just to comment on something else. But Horus Heresy. So again, if you've been following my Instagram, again, link down below, you will see that I've been painting some Heresy stuff or building some Heresy stuff here and there. Now, why is that? Well, because I'm finding it more and more interesting. I'm finding it more and more appealing. Now, I've seen the list writing. I've written a list. I think it's right. I'm still kind of trying to piece it together, if I'm being completely honest. But for the most part, I'm just building and painting and doing things as I go along. And I, so far, seem to be, yeah, I like the list building. It works out pretty nicely in terms of when you're bringing certain things, it's unlocking other detachments that you can bring into there. So, it's more about you bring this unit which you select as like this specific unit that unlocks this other unit, like this other detachment that unlocks all of these units. So it kind of has, like that force organization chart that you'll see in like certain codexes or battle tomes and stuff like that. It works more like that. Here's your big one, and then you pick this guy, and so it goes and it unlocks these ones here, and then from here you pick these three, and it's just it creates a nice little tree. The other thing that I've always appreciated again about Heresy, and I've mentioned it in previous videos, is that it does seem to have a bit more of a narrative feeling to it, which in turn just kind of means that you're building a balance list or you're building a list for a specific reason. From what I understand from the Heresy community as a whole, there is a lot of discouragement of aggressively sweaty lists or overpowered lists that don't fit much of a narrative or don't tell a story to it. So I do appreciate that element being there because it is meant to be more of a story mechanic. I'm sure someone does still bring the really broken strong things, whatever they might be. I don't know how they figure it out because stay right there. This is the Liber Hereticus. It is this thick. Now, a bunch of this is fluff. Don't get me wrong. You flip this open. Here's the armory of the Iron Warriors. I mean, there's still a ton of rules in here. There's a bunch of pictures of, armies, and then there's all the rights of war and stuff like that. So I would, and then you have like all the like keywords and stuff like that. So I guess I would be hard pressed to know. I'm sure there's someone who plays enough Heresy who just looks at all of these weapon types, and it just goes on and on. I mean, they're nice and organized. If it's an auto weapon, it's in here. If it's a artillery, it's this bolt weapon. Yeah, but like who'd gone through all this and knows definitively which one's the best one. So I feel like it's a little harder to be extremely try hard, or maybe it's not. I don't know, but I'm still very excited to try Heresy at some point. So right now, the list building in Heresy has been appealing to me most of all. Last but not least, I'll touch on it a little bit. I have played a little bit of Marvel Crisis Protocol. I haven't gone to a tournament or anything like that. But I do appreciate a little bit of that list building because you're choosing a certain number of tactic cards and stuff like that, and you're building a small deck that you bring with you, to my understanding. Again, Marvel Crisis Protocol players, please don't roast me if I don't completely understand it. But then what I understand as well is that you bring 10 models that potentially have various affiliations or synergies, and then when you get to the game, you fill out as much threat level as you're supposed to. So if it's a higher threat level, you can bring more of those guys. If it's lower, you just bring a certain number, and it kind of allows you a little bit of flexibility from matchup to matchup. The goal being that you're trying to bring the 10 that are going to be your best performers and potentially work with everybody, as opposed to just one that's just going to be like, oh, it just does this one build and that's it. From what I understand, that's what that is. And that is kind of a cool mechanic for a skirmish game. I think that actually works out pretty well. It gives you a little bit of flexibility. Again, leaves you in a bit more of a decisive place as well, where depending on whatever matchup you have in front of you, you're going to be able to just kind of like, oh crap, like I'm dealing with this. Okay, well, I'm going to take these five Marvel heroes, and they all synergize and they'll help me be more defensive. Or I'll take these five in the middle here, or I'll take these two and these three over here. So again, it offers you a little bit more flexibility, and I do appreciate that. Again, I haven't played a tournament, so I don't know. But as someone who does have a decent chunk of MCP models sitting up there, just because I also really like to paint them, at some point, I'm sure I'll give it a try. I've heard nothing but incredible things. I played the game, and the game was really fun from what I played. Again, right now, I've just been absolutely battered by my work, so I've really just had no real opportunity to really dive into it. So that's it from me here at Tattoo Tabletop. Let me know down in the comments down below, what is your favorite list writing system? What game is it? Let me know down below. And of course, if you like this content, feel free to like, share, subscribe. It massively appreciated. I had missed my video last week because unfortunately, again, I was super busy. I'm hoping to play some catch up, get a little bit further ahead. I will have some coverage of my local tournament, Renegade, coming up very soon as well. I will say I probably won't be playing, which is a little sad. I think it's been one of the first years that I haven't played in Renegade. But at the present moment, I'm still working on my Drukhari army. I don't feel like putting the mental strain of really crunching that in to potentially play that, where I haven't gotten a ton of games in, so I haven't done that. And again, like I mentioned sort of towards the beginning, Age of Sigmar just really hasn't been doing it for me. It is a decent enough game where I could probably just grab something off the shelf and play it. I just haven't been feeling it. We'll see where it goes in the future, but you have that to look forward to. Again, massively appreciate you, and until next time, I've been Tattoo Tabletop. Go paint something.